came into NC State 110% undecided. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and it wasn't because I wasn't interested in anything. I was just interested in so many things that it just seemed impossible to pick something. And so I came in what was at the time called first year college and spent a year exploring and talking to different people and figuring out what my options were. And nutrition really just clicked with me. I met with Dr. Cook, and it just seemed to fit into a lot of my interests. And so I started in the nutrition major, I think that year. And then the next year I decided to add a women's and gender studies double major, because that's something that I've always also been really into, and I think fits so well into into nutrition. So that's what I went to NC State for, a double major in applied nutrition and women's and gender studies. Again, they overlap in such interesting ways, and that I've always been able to, everything that I've been into has kind of weaved them together. So, you know, looking at women's health in Guatemala and how social factors interact with malnutrition and things like that, I've been able to do both of them. And so my senior year at NC State, I decided, I'd been thinking about grad school, but I decided that I wanted to take a little bit of time after school to really get some experience and consider my options, because I was thinking maybe I want to do an MPH with an RD, maybe I want to do a PhD, and I just didn't feel prepared to make that decision, and it's a pretty big one. So now I am an AmeriCorps Vista with Wake County Cooperative Extension. I was really involved in the Krispy Kreme Challenge, which I get is a little odd maybe for a nutrition major, but I always just thought it was a really fun, really cool event that got the community really engaged. I always like to say that my lasting legacy perhaps on the Krispy Kreme Challenge is that I instituted a no donut option. So if you don't want to do the donuts, you don't have to waste the donuts or anything. You can just run and have fun and support a really great cause. So I was really involved in that. I worked a lot with Dr. Cook on a packed kitchen and doing life skills research and creating an online interactive teaching module for nutrition instructors. I really liked the gym classes, so I took a lot of gym classes, I think 9. The scuba ones were my favorite. Scuba, survival swimming, rock climbing was really fun. I was a park scholar, so I was involved in a lot of things in that community. I did club swimming. I'm a school and community garden coordinator with Wake County Cooperative Extension. It's an AmeriCorps Vista position, so I'm in this role for 1 year. I just hit my 6-month mark now, so I finally feel like I understand what I'm doing. But basically, we've never had this role with Cooperative Extension in Wake County before, and my job is to figure out what Cooperative Extension can do to better support school and community gardens. There are a lot in Wake County, and Extension has gotten a lot of requests for help, and they know that they want to do more to help support those because there's such great spaces for teaching and for education, for nutrition education, community building, food access, but there's just so much out there, it's kind of hard to figure out what to do, so that's my job. A typical day for me, I would say, does not exist. You know, there are some weeks where I'm in the office a lot and I'm creating documents and sending emails and trying to coordinate different things with people, and then there are weeks where I'm running all around Wake County. I do a lot of garden visits because I think it's really important to know who you're working with and know who you're trying to serve. So that was really fun for about my first 3 to 4 months of service. I was doing a lot of garden visits. There are over 50 community gardens in Wake County and around 50 school gardens in Wake County. So getting out there and seeing what people are doing has been a really fun part of my job. And just connecting with people and being able to say, oh, like, you're interested in this? Have you talked to this person? That's been really fun. We do a lot of partnerships at Wake County Cooperative Extension. So we work with Capital Area Food Network, which is the local food policy council. We're just kind of honestly all over the county doing a lot of things. So it's a really dynamic work environment. I feel like I'm always on my toes. Nutrition, I think, is kind of always in the back of my mind, no matter what I'm working on, because it's so foundational as part of like a holistic health approach. And so when I look at school and community gardens, if you look at a school garden, you're not really going to produce enough food to feed the whole school or to feed even the neighborhood surrounding that school, but it's a really important space for learning. And we know that when kids are exposed to fruits and vegetables in a garden, when they see it from seed to a tomato, that changes their perspective on fruits and vegetables, and they're so much more likely to be willing to try them and to talk about them at home with their parents or their guardians. I think that's kind of always in the background when we think about these school and community garden spaces. I've also had the opportunity to work with Garden Corps, which is an intergenerational nutrition and education program. We hosted it at the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina in partnership with Raleigh Parks and Rec and the Wake County Extension Master Gardener Volunteers. So that was a 12-week program where we had teens and active older adults coming together to learn about gardening, to learn about nutrition education in the same program. And that was probably one of my favorite projects that I've ever worked on. It was just really cool to see both of those things together and to see both of those groups together and watching those relationships form, and everyone, no matter if they were a volunteer, if they were a participant, learning so many things. It was really awesome. One thing I learned about myself after graduation is that my career is really important to me, but so is my life outside of that. And it's such a delicate balancing, I guess. Like, I want to have a career that's fulfilling, and I want to be driven and motivated to do that job, but it's also really important to invest in your life outside of your job, because your job is only 8 hours of the day, and you don't have it on weekends, hopefully, sometimes, sometimes on weekends, but mostly not on weekends. And it's often the parts outside of my job that are the most exciting to me or the most fulfilling. So figuring out how to balance what I want to do with my career with what I want my life to look like has been an interesting thing that I've really been thinking about a lot since graduating. The accomplishment I think I'm most proud of is my junior year. I was named NC State's Leader of the Pack, which is something that NC State does at homecoming, and it involves, you apply and there's an interview and then there's a student vote, and it's based on leadership and service and contribution to the NC State community. And that was really meaningful, especially because there was a student vote portion of it, and I knew that it wasn't just coming from administrators or some people who sat in a room and decided, yeah, we'll just go with this one. It was the people that I was with every day on campus, it was my friends, it was the people I was in classes with that were kind of giving me that vote of confidence and saying, yes, like, you are doing things, good job, keep doing it. So that was really meaningful, and I know there are so many people at NC State that are so deserving of that, and so to be recognized for that was really meaningful. It wasn't all smooth. There were definitely some bumpy parts, but I feel like I learned from all of those parts as well. And so, in my mind, it's like, oh, I could have done this differently and it would have worked out better, but I don't actually know that. And now I have lessons learned that I can go back on. My advice to current nutrition students is do the things that you're into. You're not going to be interested in every part of every class, and that is totally fine. But when you are really interested in things, that's what you should grab onto, and that's what you should look for more opportunities with, and also travel more.